Okay, you wanted interesting, so I'm giving you interesting. I'm in Minneapolis. I didn't go too far from home. I hope I'm still in the camera. We'll just pretend I am. So this is an old mill from General Mills. So Minneapolis was a milling town. Pillsbury, all of those, like Gold Medal Flour, all of those places were here because we're right next to the Mississippi River, and that was how things were powered in the 1800s. So this is an abandoned mill site, and it's interesting, right? I don't know, I was talking to Stephanie at TNNA this weekend, Stephanie from Space Cadet, and she was like, well, Mel records her podcast by the beach, and there's absolutely nothing I can do to beat that. So here we are in what I think is like a really cool place in Minneapolis. So today I have like a mixed theme happening. I don't really know if you're gonna think it's a theme, but there are two stories that I wanted to tell that made sense to me, so we'll just pretend that they're a theme. And where do I start? Okay, so my broad theme today is success. So if I say like, hey, is there anything you want to ask me about? Most people ask me something like, hey, how did you start your business? Or what's your secret to your business being successful? And so I have two different answers to that question in story format. The first thing is, this is a really big question. What is success? So for me, it's not earning a certain amount of money. For me, success is about feeling fulfilled, and I do a job that I absolutely love, and I also lead a pretty interesting life. So my job doesn't take 100 hours a week. I'm not, having no life because I'm nose to the grindstone. I work a full-time week, and in the afternoons or in the evenings I knit, which is what I do for fun. I'm in a mushroom club, so it's true, the Minnesota Mycological Society. So I love mushrooms. I cultivate mushrooms at home, and I go foraging for mushrooms in the wild. Morel season actually starts next week, if you didn't know. So I do that. What else do? I garden, I cook, I have a good life. So for me, my definition of success is having a job that I really love, that also lets me lead a life that's really full and interesting, and healthy. I'm lucky enough to have the time in the evenings to cook food that's healthy, and that's important to me. So that's my definition of success. So if you want, I don't know if you know Tara Gentili. I think that's how her name's spelled it, or her name is pronounced. It's spelled like gentle. She wrote a blog post, and she's like a coach for business people. And she wrote this blog post about how she makes $125,000 a year, and only works 20 hours a week. And she has all this hardcore business advice. That's probably not the advice I'm gonna give you, because I don't do that. I can give you advice about how to not kill yourself and still live a good life. Probably not going to be a millionaire if you roll with me. So that's how it is. So okay, here are my two stories. So the first story, I'll title it Just Do It. So a year ago, I visited my friend Abby Glassenberg. So she runs While She Naps. She does the podcast. She's really just a spectacular person. She's really friendly. She runs a successful business. She has 3 kids. And what she doesn't tell you is that her house is always clean. So I go to visit her, and when you go to the home of someone with 3 kids, you're sort of expecting a disaster zone. I mean, that would be normal if it was a disaster zone. So I go, and her house is clean, and her kids are well behaved, and some people, honestly. And I go, and she cooks dinner, blah, 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 blah. So after dinner, I'm just sitting at the island, chatting with her. And she spends about 10 minutes just taking a dish rag, wiping off the counters. She wipes off the stove, puts things in the dishwasher. And 15 minutes later, the whole kitchen's clean. And I know this doesn't sound like a very big deal, but I just like she said, like, yeah, I like cleaning the kitchen after dinner, so then, the next day it's fresh, it's new, and everything's ready to go. And I just thought about it, and I was like, whoa, she just spent 10 minutes cleaning. Not that big of a time commitment. And her kitchen looks fantastic. And if you want a clean kitchen, the secret is actually just to clean it every day. Like, I think a lot of times we're waiting for sorry, there's people walking by taking photos, but we'll just pretend they don't think I'm crazy. A lot of times we're looking for this secret, like, answer, right? Like, how do you lose weight? Is there a pill? Well, the sad truth is that you actually just have to eat healthy and exercise, like, every day. It doesn't mean it's easy, but the solution can be stated very simply. So how do you get a clean kitchen? You just have to clean it pretty much every day, and then it'll be clean. And it was sort of a light bulb moment for me. This was a year ago. Like, if you want something done, you just have to do it. And so I'm just giving you a pause, because it sounds really dumb, but it's actually really profound. So yeah, I'm trying to encourage interaction. So on the Ravelry group thread, I'm looking at you. I want you to post what's one thing you've accomplished, like, not with any magic or special skill, like, what's something you've accomplished by just doing it. Plain and easy, just doing it. Every day you worked at it, you did it. If you've trained for a race, if you've finished a school program, if you've made a quilt, like, these are things, like, you just do it and it gets done. And the way this relates to my success theme is that a lot of people ask how my business became successful, or what did I do? Like, what's the trick? And I have to think a lot about how to answer it, because really the answer is, like, I just worked really hard at it. And that's so unsatisfying, I know, because, like, you want this, like, secret. But really, I started in 2008, which was 5 years ago. It's a long time. And every day I worked on it. I designed a quality product, which are my patterns, which I really do believe are well-written, excellent patterns. And every day I wake up, I check my emails, I answer questions that my customers have, I update my website so that people are getting access to good information, I work on social media things, I work on making the product better, I work on making it more accessible to people, I work on getting the word out there, and I do it every day. And so there's no trick. Like, there's tips, right? Like, I can give you a little tip on how to take a good photograph, like, with a white background. I write tutorials and blog posts about that kind of thing. But the momentum behind the whole business is just, I work on it really hard every day. So that's really just the secret. I mean, it doesn't even sound like a secret. Like, and people ask me, how are you so fast at knitting? Well, I knit every day and I practice. That's, like, I'm not a gifted knitter. I didn't start knitting until after I was a crochet designer. So it was late 2008 that I started knitting, and I just practiced. I don't know whether this is really inspiring or, like, really dull. So yeah, and people, I mean, the questions just come up often. Like, I have a lot of Facebook fans. So it's pushing 400,000 Facebook fans, which is crazy. Like, I'm so lucky. It's completely, like, crazy. And, so people ask, what's your secret for getting Facebook fans? And I'll say, well, since about 2009, I've been posting every day content that I think my customers will like. That's what I do. I put effort into taking really good photos. I put effort into searching the web for links to share. I follow other companies that I think my fans will like. I put effort into it, and I do it every single day. And sometimes I get these looks, like the stink eye look, because a lot of times people are looking for, like, this secret, like, oh, if you put the word congratulations in the blog post or the Facebook post, then, oh, that'll like make you a rock star or whatever. And there aren't that many of those kinds of secrets that just like trump hard work, right? Like Einstein said that success or whatever, something, is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration, because you have to work to get to it. And sometimes it's really boring. Like, are there days where I don't feel like posting on Facebook? Yep. Totally. But that's what having a business is about. And Tara Swiger wrote a guest blog post on my blog, what's the difference between a hobby and a business? And a business is something that you do every day, whether or not you feel like it. Like my knitting, I can put this down for a week and not touch it. That means it's a hobby. If I am not obliged to work on it every day, whether or not I feel like it, it's not really a business. That's a hobby, and that's something you're doing for fun. So that was story one, called Just Do It. If you want to be successful and have success, a lot of the mileage that you'll gain is by just doing it every day. Like if you want to run a 5K, just start out walking. I don't care what your fitness level is, just go for a little walk and keep doing it. Every day, you can walk a little more the next day, or maybe you can walk the same amount. Just keep doing it, and eventually you'll get to your goal. So I hope that's inspiring, because it really is the truth. Like, I have never paid fancy consultants to give me these secrets. I actually don't really advertise that much for the business. There's nothing I've done that other people can't do with hard work. And so I hope that's a really inspiring message, because it's the truth. So the second story is, let's call it goal setting. So it's true that you have to work really, really hard. But this other component of success is like setting a goal that's almost too lofty, okay? So my goal when I started Fresh Stitches in 2008 was to work full-time designing crochet patterns. That at the time sounded crazy, like really crazy. Tim was looking at me like, okay, let's give it a try. I mean, people told me, like, I had people tell me I was an idiot, I was doing the dumbest thing in my life, because at that time, I don't want to say the internet wasn't big or whatever, but it was not normal for people to have a full-time job on the internet. It just wasn't. There were a lot, even if it was a website or a blog, they were still very much connected to a brick and mortar store, and yeah, it didn't sound normal at the time. So, but I did it. I had this dream and I did it. So thing two that you have to tell me in the Ravelry thread, or you can leave it as a comment on the blog, it's fine, but the Ravelry thread is more fun. Thing number two is that I want you to tell me something that is an absolutely crazy, lofty dream you have. And I'll give you a story about why it's important for you to have these crazy, lofty dreams. So now I'm designing patterns, good, but I don't stop dreaming. I have tons of crazy dreams, like crazy, and I'm not going to say them specifically because it'll be, I don't know, it's like jinxing it, but I went to TNNA and I have these crazy thoughts, like right here, well actually under my ponytail, just keep them right there, and they're crazy. So I go up, so one of them, to be vague, is to have a certain kind of product line. Let's pretend it's nail polish. It's not really nail polish, but let's pretend. So I go up to this famous nail polish company at TNNA, right? Because at TNNA, it's where, like, seriously, it's where all of the big kahunas are. And I go up to them, and I say, hi, like I do. What's it take to get your own nail polish line? And it's not really nail polish, but... And they look at me like this, you know, flaky girl's rocking up, wanting her own nail polish line. And they're like, well, that's really hard to do. You know, so-and-so's done it, but she's really famous. And she has a lot of exposure. And I was like, okay, that's okay if it takes at least 10 years. I don't mind, I'll still be around. So anyway, I was thinking about my really super awesome nail polish line, and it would be like this, and here's why there's this gap in the market, and like we really need this, and you know, you guys would be good ones to do it because of these other things that you do that are related, and blah 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 blah. And as I was talking, I went from the crazy girl who was just like trying to make crap up to, I could see in their face they were like, oh, like that's not so crazy of an idea. And at the end, I gave them my card and everything, and I said, I know it's not happening this year, but next time you're looking for a new nail polish line, call me. And they said, you know, we are always looking for new things. We're gonna pass this along to, you know, the powers that be, and maybe they'll think about it. So, okay, in real life, there's a 0.00000000001% chance that will really happen, right? It's just a pipe dream. But the difference between 0.00000 however many 1% chance and 0 is like infinitely different, right? So that's what I really want you to like get today. Like, even if something seems so minuscule of a chance of happening, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's that you run a marathon. It doesn't matter if it's you lose 100 pounds, if that you change a job, like whatever you fantasize about. The minuscule chance is so much bigger than absolute 0, right? You want to hear something that's absolute 0? That I'll be 12 years old again. Not gonna happen. Just not, there's no chance that that's gonna happen. Am I gonna be on the moon someday? I don't know. Like, I don't even really, not one of those people who even wants to go to the moon, but there's a 0.00001% chance that that'll happen. Things are changing in the world, space travel's happening, and there's a chance. And so if there's something that there's a chance that you want to happen, there's a chance that it'll happen. And once you say it out loud, which is why I want you to go to the Ravelry group and say, what is this crazy, lofty thing? I swear, no one will make fun of you. Making fun is not allowed in the group. I will delete posts if it comes to that. It's a safe place for you to share dreams. And it doesn't have to be like grand. It doesn't have to be like, I want a PhD, or it doesn't have to be that kind of thing. Maybe your dream is just like, you know what, you really want to see your grandkids every other week, but you live really far away, and that just seems like it couldn't happen. Just write it down. Write down what your dream is. And once you say it out loud, you'll find that it starts to come close to happening. It might not happen, but it's in the back of your head, and then you start thinking like, oh, maybe I could do this, and that would get me closer to the dream. Or once you say it out loud, maybe like your friend Bobby, who's actually like your cousin's coworker, whatever, says, oh yeah, I see this opportunity, and I was just thinking about so-and-so, and they'd be perfect for it. It can't happen at all unless you say it and you're working toward it. And once you're working toward it, once you have this goal and this lofty dream, even if you're not doing something about tomorrow, eventually in the back of your mind, you'll get that a way to get back to the first thing we talked about, which is just really slow steps to keep progressing. Because that's what I've done, and that's, I think, how I became successful. And the other thing I want to say, which I don't have a good story, Drat, it's just a thing. Sometimes you have a goal and then you realize it's crazy and it's actually not even something you want anymore. Can I think of an example? I just can't say something without a story. Okay, this was a good idea. This was an idea I had in like 11th grade. I wanted to move to South America. Okay. I still wouldn't mind living in South America. It's a beautiful part of the world, but it's no longer like this fantasy dream because other stuff happens. You know, it wouldn't be easy for me to order my yarn there or whatnot. It wouldn't be easy for Tim to have a job there. So things that were once really fantasy dreams might fall out of being fantasy dreams, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're like a failure or anything. It just means life changes, and that's good. Life does change. You might want to, I don't know, maybe one day you wanted to make this like huge gorgeous quilt, and then you moved to Florida and you were like, I am never going to use a quilt to save my life, and then you're like, oh, that's not such a big fantasy dream of mine anymore. So that's what I had to say. Those were my two stories, but so I have this other story that's completely unrelated, but I have no idea how, it's not going to be related to anything. Oh, maybe it's about success. Okay, so I was at TNNA and I did the Coffee with Stacey live from TNNA. But that night I heard a really good story that I wanted to share. So Stephanie, who I'm real life friends with from Space Cadet Creations, she has 2 little girls. And so her girls obviously think she's famous because she has a website. That's what it takes to be famous. And then they were watching my Craftsy class, and last year they met me in real life, which, well, whew, that means mommy knows someone else famous because, like, I have a video. And so then they're going on a trip to Nashville, and the little one says, so we're gonna meet Taylor Swift, right? Because, like, you know everyone who's famous. Which is just so cute. So I don't know how she's gonna solve that one, because I don't know. So if anyone knows someone who knows Taylor Swift, just putting that out there in the lofty dream category, contact me, tag Space Cadet Yarn, see if we can get something worked out. Because we actually don't know all these famous people like Taylor Swift. It's just us. So that's a good story, sort of related to success. So thanks. I hope you like the setting. Do comment on the setting. I have, I'm thinking of bringing the camera on the road, so doing some filming in various locations. So I hope you like it. It is, I'm not gonna lie, it's extra effort. Like, I walked, who knows, I was like walking down these cliffs, you know, you saw me jumping over things and whatever. So if you don't really like it, let me know, because then I don't know if it's worth all the effort. But if you do like it, I'm happy to keep doing the effort to bring you some filming from some cool places. And that's Coffee with Stacey. I really hope that you jump in on the conversation in the Ravelry group. Some of you might not be on Ravelry yet. It's a great website, and our group is really, really friendly. And I really mean what I say, that it's a safe place to have conversations about what your dreams are. We've, for at least 2 years now, have been having a thread where we share what our dreams are for the next year, and I want it to continue to be a great place to do that. So if you look for the Coffee with Stacey and whatever, there's a thread titled Coffee with Stacey 4, and then chat is in there somewhere. And I want to hear from you, both with something that you've accomplished that was just sheer grit, you know, no divine inspiration, no magic wand, just sheer grit, so that we can all just know that's how some things happen and get inspired. And then also share a really lofty dream that you have, and you just never know, it might happen someday. So thank you so much for coming. I really hope to hear from you. And if you think you have friends who would like this, go ahead and share it with them, because the more the merrier. And I'll see you next time. Now you're gonna see me do some acrobatics as I get over there to cut off the camera. Okay.